What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some new information in terms of the development and kind of what's going down with Trials of Mana on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC. Square Enix has talked candidly about this game, what they're expecting, and what they're going to do going forward with the franchise based on what's going on with this game. So this game is kind of important, guys, and I've talked about Trials of Mana on the channel before. It was my most surprising announcement of E3 2019 because I thought Square Enix just does not care about the Mana franchise anymore, and I think that this game is going to be hugely important into how Square Enix gauges how people actually feel in terms of their money when it comes to playing these classics, because everything that I've seen from this Trials of Mana remake just spells high quality, and you know what, we've got to support it so far because it's the original game and it's completely remade in such a better way than the original Secret of Mana was remade, because they went the low budget route. That didn't work, so now they're definitely putting more money into it. So let's go ahead and get into this. This was in a recent interview with Kotaku. The Mana series producer Oyamada had this to say about the game Trials of Mana. Quote, "The ultimate goal would be to get that glory back. With Trials of Mana, we really challenged ourselves to provide mana in a new form, different than how it used to be. And so after the fans see the story and actually play the game for themselves, we would like their feedback on their expectations for Mana games to come, and to take that into consideration for the future." So he definitely wants fans to play the game and kind of see how they feel about it, give them feedback, but you gotta buy the game. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you know what? Play the game, you gotta buy it, give us feedback, and then that can shape the future. If enough people don't buy the game, then maybe we're not gonna get enough feedback for them in order for them to make it better. So here's the thing in terms of what I know with this game, Trials of Mana. This is Seiken Densetsu 3. If you have the Mana Collection, that is the third game on there in this series before things went kind of nutty, because he talked about getting the glory back for this franchise. Guys, things were rough. After Seiken Densetsu 3, there was a Secret of Mana game on the PS2. That game was horrible. Now, there's also games on the DS, Children of Mana, and while they can be enjoyable, they don't live up to Seiken Densetsu 2 or Secret of Mana here in the West, and they sure as hell don't live up to Seiken Densetsu 3. So I think that what they want to do with this game is they want to make sure that the quality is returned, because people's faith in the Mana series is pretty much gone. You have kids that have no idea what the Mana series is, right? Because the last one that actually was significant was, what was it, like the Children of Mana or something like that? I mean, there really wasn't anything, and that was a long time ago. I remember playing that game like college or something like that. It came out a long time ago. I think I was in college, or I don't even remember, but I know it was a long time ago. It was on the DS, okay? So it was quite a while ago. There are kids that are born that have no idea what this is, so this is really important to kind of get this out into new hands, but then also series veterans that can let them know, like, hey, maybe this needs to be tweaked, or what's going on here. This needs to be better than Seiken Densetsu 3 in every single way, shape, and form, because the original Secret of Mana remake for the PS4 and the PS Vita, or I think it came out on PC too, that was not better in every single way, shape, or form. There were issues, there were loadings, and there were certain things that it did that wasn't better than the original, and the art style necessarily wasn't what fans were looking for. This one has a much cleaner look to it, looks a lot better. It looks like they're taking a lot more time with the graphics, refining the visuals, and the combat seems like it's the same, but they've also evolved it a bit with adding some of the bonus meters and adding some of the things and visual flair that necessarily wasn't in there for the entirety of Seiken Densetsu 3. So it's not just like a cheap remake of the game and say, oh, here you go, Mana fans, okay, take this, right? You like that? No, it's not that. It's actually like, okay, we're trying with this one. Maybe not to the level of like a Final Fantasy VII remake when it comes to money, but if you look at the graphics in this game, it looks absolutely phenomenal, and it absolutely blows away that original Secret of Mana remake that we did get. So I do think that that's pretty good. Now let's go ahead and move on to a couple other things here when it comes to Trials of Mana. So Square Enix did consider retaining the top-down perspective. For those who don't know, the game kind of had like a top-down perspective of Seiken Densetsu 3, and they consider that for Trials of Mana, but I think that probably doesn't coincide on what they want to do in terms of turning this franchise a new leaf. So let's go ahead and get into what the producer had to say here about that, and potentially retaining the original camera style, then kind of voting against it. So, quote, "We did consider having the top-down perspective as well. However, this time we really wanted to focus on having an immersive experience for players. Additionally, Trials of Mana, this is the first time Trials of Mana has been put out there for the these players outside of Japan, so we wanted to provide this sort of modernized experience. So this is something, like I said before, there's so many people out there that have never played it, right? You want to build a good first impression. If the first impression is this is a top-down type of game, people are going to take that and run with it. Oh, this is not a 3D or a high-quality type of game. It's more of like one of those games that are smaller budget and all that. From what we're seeing here with Trials of Mana, it looks like a solid kind of AA type of game, and of course the gameplay is looking super solid, AAA gameplay from what I've seen so far and what they're doing, because it's like the original, but then they're bolstering it with all sorts of cool things. So I do think that he has a point here on why they didn't go with that, and I'm really happy they didn't, because if you look at the Secret of Mana remake that we have, people just looked at it and said, what is this? This is not the evolution of what we were supposed to see. And I think it's the same reason why whenever somebody says to me, at least, like, oh, they should take this game and kind of put it in like Octopath and make it like an Octopath style game, I'm like, no, they shouldn't do that, because Octopath is Octopath. And when these games were coming out, Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, and all these other games were coming, they weren't just Octopath style, you know what I'm saying? That was the highest end, that was the best looking, that was the modernized type of game. It wasn't a throwback to what we did in the 8-bit generation, or what we did, you know what I'm saying, like on a Game Boy or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying here, guys? It wasn't like an Intellivision throwback or something like that in terms of the graphics and what they did there. It was a modernized new type of style of game. So I don't understand why we have to take it and then go parallel to what they did all the way back in the day, because Octopath was trying to emulate those 16-bit RPGs and all that. There's no need to try to emulate a 16-bit RPG with a series that's already been there before. We've already seen it. We can play it in 16 bits on the Super Nintendo. There's no need to re-go that way when it's already been there. Same thing with Chrono Trigger, right? And I think that if you take a classic franchise like a Chrono Trigger or a Secret of Mana or a Breath of Fire, these were the highest of their class in RPGs back in the day. These were the AAA RPGs. So there's no need to make it over the top. There's no need to make it like it was before. Modernize it, make it new, make it fresh, give fans a good perspective of what you're trying to do going forward and moving the franchise forward, and then take those old school elements that people love in the game, take those elements that still to this day aren't really done very well, right? Still to this day, we still don't got a ton of action RPGs or Japanese RPGs to where you can play local co-op. That was something that was very unique back in the day for the Secret of Mana game on the Super Nintendo and everything. So you can bring stuff like that back in. You can bring the classic type of gameplay in terms of magic and what you can do in that, bring that back in. I mean, people want those type of things. So I feel that they're going the right direction with this. I'm really happy with what they did. It completely blew me away that they're bringing this game back. But I think the biggest thing with this, kind of heading back into the sales type of talk, the biggest thing with this is the fact that it needs to do well. And I feel that just if this can get out to enough people, and the high quality of the game shows in the reviews and in people playing and talking about the game, I think that it can have a chance. Now remember, guys, this game doesn't need to sell like Final Fantasy Remake. They're not saying that it needs to sell like 15 million copies or like Final Fantasy 15. I think it just needs to do a decent amount. Now, I don't know what that amount is, but I would guess somewhere in the range of a 500,000 to 1 million units, somewhere in that range for this style of game, because it's going to be a $60 game. It's going to be a full $60 game, and I think that if you look at the game, looks very good, looks very high quality, looks awesome. But then again, there's definitely games on current generation systems that look a lot better that Square Enix has already done this generation. So I don't think they're going to be thinking that this game needs to do gangbusters in order for them to continue the series. But I'm excited and I'm happy about what they said here, because it shows that Square Enix does kind of care about the Mana series, at least somewhat. I would have never thought, seriously, I would have never thought that they would remake Seiken Densetsu 3, because they just did Secret of Mana and that game didn't turn out so well for them. I don't know how well it sold, but I don't think it did that great. There was issues with the physical edition of the game, only at certain places. I mean, it was just so weird. So it's good to see them say, hey, we're going to give this one a shot and we're actually going to put our effort into it, because it does look phenomenal and they're retaining the look and feel of the game. It does really seem like it's going to be a fantastic experience for everybody who decides to play it. So what do you guys think about Trials of Mana on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC? What do you think about the graphics, the treehouse gameplay, what they said here about the franchise going forward, and what type of innovations or what type of new content would you guys like to see them add in as we go along here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.